Hello, I'm Dr. Sophie Miller, a medical specialist in health and wellness, and today I need to tell you a truth that might be going unnoticed in your routine. You wake up, have your coffee, go to work, come back home. A common routine, right? But what if I told you that within this seemingly harmless routine, you are, without knowing it, creating small time bombs inside your arteries? And the worst part, these are habits that everyone considers normal, even healthy. If you're over 40 years old, feel frequent fatigue, shortness of breath when climbing stairs, or that feeling of heaviness in your chest after a long day, pay very close attention to what I'm going to show you now, because this information can literally save your life, and I'm not exaggerating. The heart is an absolutely tireless muscle. It beats more than 100,000 times a day, pumps almost 8,000 liters of blood, and works nonstop from the first second you were born until your last breath. Think about this. While you sleep, work, eat, watch television, your heart is there, beating, keeping you alive. But it has limits. And when we ignore these limits with small daily choices that seem harmless, we begin to inflame the arteries, increase blood pressure, accumulate fat plaques, and reduce the flow of oxygen that reaches vital organs. The result? Heart attack, stroke, heart failure, and many times without any prior warning. Let me tell you the story of Marcos, 52 years old, public servant, quiet life. He didn't smoke, didn't drink excessively, thought everything was fine with his health. He had routine checkups from time to time. Doctors told him everything was relatively well. Until one Sunday morning, while washing his car in his garage, he felt a tightness in his chest that wouldn't go away. He tried to ignore it, thought it was tiredness, but the pain started radiating to his left arm and jaw. His wife noticed something was wrong and rushed him to the hospital. He arrived in time, but the damage was already done. 3 coronary arteries blocked, requiring emergency surgery. The doctor who treated Marcus asked him a series of questions about his routine, about his daily habits, and that's when everything started to make sense. It wasn't genetics, it wasn't bad luck, it wasn't destiny. It was seemingly insignificant choices he had been making for years that, added together, formed the perfect storm for that heart attack. Have you ever stopped to think that the small decisions of everyday life might be shaping your cardiovascular health at this very moment? Let's talk then about the 5 habits that were destroying Marcus's heart, and that might be destroying yours too, probably without you realizing. The first habit is sleeping less than 6 hours a night. Marcus slept, on average, 5 hours. He woke up at 5 in the morning to go to work and only managed to go to bed around midnight. "I need to be productive. I have so much to do," he always said. But what he didn't know is that during deep sleep, those more restorative phases of sleep, the heart literally slows down, blood pressure naturally drops, and the body does a real maintenance on the arteries and blood vessels. It's like a period of repair and cleaning. When you sleep little, the body can't do this maintenance properly, and even worse, it releases cortisol and adrenaline in excess, which are stress hormones. These hormones inflame the walls of blood vessels, make arteries more rigid, and facilitate the accumulation of fat plaques. In just a few years, this turns into chronic hypertension, and the risk of heart attack practically doubles. Studies from the American Heart Association show that people who regularly sleep less than 6 hours have 27% more chances of having atherosclerosis, which is the hardening of the arteries. Sleeping well is not luxury. It's not laziness. It's not a waste of time. It's survival. It's an investment in your longevity. Can you get at least 7 hours of sleep per night? The second habit is sitting for more than 8 hours straight without moving. Marcus had an office job, like millions of people. He sat down at 8 in the morning, got up only for lunch, went back to his chair, and stayed there glued until 6 in the evening. And the problem isn't just having a sedentary job. The problem is not compensating for that with movement throughout the day. When you stay still for a long time, blood circulates poorly, especially in the legs, and this dramatically increases the risk of blood clot formation. Moreover, sitting for prolonged periods raises triglyceride levels in the blood, reduces HDL, which is the good cholesterol, the heart's protector, and increases insulin resistance, paving the way for diabetes. Did you know that studies published in the European Heart Journal show that sitting for more than 8 hours a day increases the risk of death from cardiovascular disease by 64%? It's almost the same risk as smoking. The solution is simple, but it needs to become a habit. Every hour, get up from your chair, walk for at least 2 minutes, go to the bathroom, get water, stretch your legs, go up and down some stairs if there are any. The heart needs blood to circulate. It needs movement to function properly. Can you imagine the results with such a simple change? Do you already do this? The third habit is skipping breakfast or eating too much at night. Marcus rushed out of the house every morning, only had black coffee, without eating anything solid at all. He spent the entire morning working, grabbed a quick snack at midday, and then at night, when he finally got home exhausted, he ate like a king, eating everything in sight. But here's the problem. The human body has a biological clock, a circadian rhythm that regulates metabolism, hormone production, digestion. When you skip breakfast, especially after the overnight fast that already lasts about 8 to 10 hours, your metabolism slows down to conserve energy, insulin becomes completely dysregulated, and you end up accumulating more abdominal fat throughout the day. And that visceral fat, the one that stays in the belly, is the most dangerous for the heart because it's metabolically active, releasing inflammatory substances that go straight to the arteries. And there's more. Eating a lot at night, especially if it's a heavy and fatty meal, overloads the digestive system precisely when the body should be slowing down to rest. This increases blood pressure during sleep, hinders cardiac recovery, and can even cause reflux, which further disrupts sleep quality. The ideal is to have a nutritious and complete breakfast with proteins, fruits, fiber, and a lighter dinner up to 3 hours before sleeping. When you reverse this logic, the heart pays the price. The fourth habit is using too much salt, but not in the way you imagine. Marcus didn't put salt on his food. He thought he was being super careful because he didn't use the salt shaker at the table, but he ate French bread every day for breakfast, yellow cheese, ham, bologna, frozen food for lunch, instant noodles when he was in a hurry. These ultra-processed foods are true hidden sodium bombs. A simple piece of French bread has almost 300 milligrams of sodium. If you eat 2 pieces for breakfast, you've already reached a quarter of the daily recommendation, which is 2,000 milligrams per day. Excess salt retains fluid in the body, increases circulating blood volume, and with that, blood pressure rises. The heart needs to work double to pump that larger volume, and over time, this leads to cardiac muscle hypertrophy, insufficiency, and a brutal increase in the risk of heart attack and stroke. And the worst of all is that you don't even realize you're consuming so much sodium because it comes disguised in these industrialized products. The solution? Cook more at home with fresh foods. Always read product labels. Replace processed meats with fresh meats, chicken, fish, or eggs. And season your meals with natural herbs like rosemary, oregano, basil, garlic, onion. You can have flavor without destroying your heart. The fifth habit, and perhaps the most neglected of all, is completely ignoring emotional stress. Marcos carried everything alone: problems at work, pressure from his boss, bills at the end of the month, worries about family, and he swallowed it all. Didn't talk to anyone, didn't ask for help, didn't seek support. He thought it was weakness to show he was overwhelmed. But chronic stress, the kind that accumulates day after day without being processed or released, is a silent poison for the heart. It increases systemic inflammation throughout the entire body, raises blood pressure, accelerates the formation of plaques in the coronary arteries, and can even trigger dangerous arrhythmias. Research shows that people living under chronic stress have a 40% higher risk of developing cardiovascular disease. The heart and mind are deeply connected. When you don't take care of your emotional health, don't talk about what you're feeling, don't seek psychological help when you need it, the physical body collects the bill, and it usually collects it expensively. Talking with friends, doing therapy, meditating, practicing deep breathing exercises, asking for help when necessary. All of this protects the heart as much as a healthy diet and physical exercise. Have you been taking care of your mental health? After the surgery Marcus had, his life changed completely. He understood that he had received a second chance and decided to take advantage of it. He started sleeping 7 hours every night, set an alarm on his phone to remember to get up every hour at work, began having breakfast with fruits, scrambled eggs and oatmeal, switched white bread and processed meats for natural and whole grain options, started cooking more at home on weekends, and sought a therapist to learn how to better deal with stress. In 6 months, he lost 9 kilos, his blood pressure normalized completely, his cholesterol and triglyceride tests improved impressively, and he regained energy and disposition to play with his grandchildren. The difference between having a healthy and strong heart at 70 and suffering a fatal heart attack at 50 is exactly in the small habits of every day. It's not about being perfect. It's not about never making mistakes. It's not about living a restrictive life without pleasure. It's about being conscious, about making informed choices, about understanding that every decision you make has a cumulative impact on your health. If you identified with any of these 5 habits I mentioned, I want you to know that there's still time to change. The heart has an absolutely incredible capacity to recover and regenerate when you give it the right conditions. It's not too late. Sleep the necessary hours, move throughout the day, eat real food at appropriate times, control the hidden salt in industrialized foods, and lovingly care for your mental and emotional health. Based on scientific evidence from the World Health Organization and International Cardiology Society, small consistent changes in daily habits can reduce the risk of developing cardiovascular disease by up to 80%. 80%! That's more effective than most medications. Prevention is in your hands, in your choices, in your everyday life. If this content made sense to you, if you know someone who needs to hear this information, share this video. Leave here in the comments which of these habits you identified with most and which one you're going to start changing from today. I'll read every comment and will respond whenever possible. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now and activate the bell so you don't miss the next videos, because in the coming weeks, I'm going to show you exactly, step by step, how to implement each of these changes in a practical and sustainable way in your routine. Your life and your heart thank you. I'm Dr. Sophie Miller, and I'll see you in the next video.